I have no idea if they can hear us right
I wanted to say something seriously, but it's fine. I know why we lost. I can't even see your cameras.
now. Yeah, it's because it's doing the screen right
We lost because the main character wasn't there.
now.
Facts, and more facts.
Is this show like on YouTube?
Yeah,
So let me go to my personal accounts.
I just put it on. I put the link on the Instagram story. But like nobody's gonna be watching it first, but it'll get posted as a regular video.
I have it muted on my phone.
Check if you can hear us on
Sounds like yes. I think everything's fine.
Yeah, I can hear you all talk, but it's delayed by 20 seconds.
That's how lives work.
Let me look and see.
Oh, sorry.
Man, I hated today, bro. Freaking banana ball comes in and our bat and ball sports go 0-4. Get these assholes out of here.
Well, family friendly. The one
I hope they
person
can.
watching can hear you.
Yeah, you're fine. Sick. Okay, welcome in everybody. We just had a pretty rough day at Olson. Gut punching is, I think, probably the only word I can use to describe it. You get run rolled for the first time since 2023 in game one. And then you play a lot better in the second game, and you're right there at the end, and you're just not able to close it out. So before we kind of get into Saturday and or game one and game two, specifically, what are you guys' kind of general impressions of what we just watched?
I think that you saw a team that was hungry in Auburn, that had something to prove, almost it felt like. But at the end of the day, both it's top 10 matchup for a reason. Both teams are very talented, and one team just outperformed the other, and it's just simple as that.
Yeah, and I think that like teams that get hot, they eventually cool down, and that's what you saw today. Like we haven't lost this SEC series since March, and then we just get dominated game one, lose a close one game two, and then like a bunch of people who usually were consistent were just off. Like Sims had, it wasn't a bad start, but it was like one of his worst start since March. Like it wasn't awful, but compared to like his last four starts, wasn't like up to par too lows.
I think Auburn too. I think they were on a 4 series win streak as well. We were on a 5. I mean, that's crazy to think. We haven't lost an SEC series since the Georgia series,
Yeah.
and we kind of caught fire after that Saturday loss, and it felt like that series was a long time ago. Um, I guess we could start with game one, and the only place to start is Shane Sadeo. Um, I don't know. I don't think there's any argument about this. This was easily his worst start of the year. He went 1 inning, gave up 4 hits, 6 earned runs, walked 2, and only struck out 1.
Yeah, it really got out of hand, like it quick. Like it looked good, and then it got out of hand quick. You after the base hit to lead off the second, just the misses were so much larger. It didn't look like the Shane we've seen since what 2023, but
Mm-hmm.
or more
24.
specifically 20
24.
more
24, yeah.
specifically 24. But yeah, it was a rough start. Just that's all you can say.
What I found funny was in the second inning, these all of things that happened before we recorded the first out. One pitching change, 6 hits, runs, 2 walks before we recorded a single out. So I
Yeah,
just
good
found
point.
that funny. But the first out was a double play, so technically we got 2 outs, but still it took all of that just to get out on the scoreboard.
We have a chat actually from Jonathan. He's asking about the Partita injury. We're going to talk about that in a bit. Nothing has been said uh, yet. There's really no news. We'll talk about that in a bit, but didn't look great. Um, he walked off the field, so not the end of the world probably, but we don't know at this point.
I'm not going to speculate on injuries because you never know. But until we hear anything from early, I really just don't think it's worth mentioning. Well, obviously we'll mention it, but it's not worth going in detail just because you don't know. It could be something very serious. It could be something like a tweak. Like we just don't know
Yeah.
until we hear what imaging says, we hear from early. But definitely not something that you wanted to happen today. Just it added to what was a bad day.
Yeah, and for my view, and like this isn't like the best take, but it looked like a groin for what I saw, but I could be wrong. So
Today, Aaron says, yeah, today felt like an all that could go wrong day. I totally agree. Starting from game, we can get into game one a little bit. You get run ruled 18-7, 18-5. Sorry, 18-5. First time I think we got run ruled. It was at Alabama in 2023. Run ruled us at Olson. Gavin was really, really good in game one. He had two hits, both of them home runs, three RBIs, and the only other two RBIs were Jorian Wilson, right?
Yeah, he had a home run.
yeah,
He
home
hit a home
run.
run. Uh, yeah, Sorrell was 0 for 3 in the first game. Chris Akopian was 1 for 2. Um, Wesley Jordan came in at one point. He went 0 for. Dewar also was 0 for 3. You're used to a lot of like really good at bats from Jake Dewar, and this wasn't just a him problem, but like there were a lot of just really bad at bats from everybody. Even Kellner was 0 for 3 in the first game. When you usually see a lot of like really good at bats from Kellner. Like his two strike approach is so good normally, and I mean, today, like all day, you swung at balls and you took strikes. We struck out looking a lot, um, struck out swinging at balls. Really frustrating offensively in the first game and in the second game, really.
I think first and foremost, I think we have to credit Auburn's pitching staff. I mean, what they did today against our hot offense just needs to be talked about. They used three pitchers in the two games today. They're supposed to
Ridiculous.
be top pitching staff in this conference. The numbers would indicate, but they only used three pitchers today, which means the majority of the bullpen will be rested tomorrow, which is going to be crazy to see how. But we can get into that later
Yeah,
before we get
we
into
can
that.
talk about our bullpen too today. You kind of saw a similar situation in the first game that you did against Florida in game one last week, where the game just kind of got out of hand. So early put in, like a Luke Billings, Cooper Powell, Cole Hubert. Um, Grant Cunningham came in after Shane. Kind of had an unfortunate first inning where there were a lot of soft kind of balls put in play, and you just couldn't make the play. Like they weren't errors, but you just couldn't make the play. They were tough plays. Grant went 3 innings, gave up 8 hits, 5 earned runs, and struck out three. Didn't walk anybody. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of one of those days where it felt like when you threw strikes, they got clobbered. And then, when you threw balls, they were bad misses. And that was going back to Shane a little bit. Like something I've always loved about Shane, and he's a really good competitor. And so even though, he'll give up some hits, he'll get hit around, he always comes back in the next batter and throws strike one, which is what you love to see, like out of your Friday night guy. And that wasn't the case today. Like very early on, after things kind of started to go wrong, you saw the walks. And that was kind of the same way with the bullpen too. I will say, I think it was. Let's see. Yeah, Cooper Powell actually did a nice. He was only in for 1.2 innings, but he gave up 2 hits, didn't give up any runs, and he struck out two. So, I mean, that was a little bit of a highlight, I guess, from the pitching in the first game. But other than that, it was pretty bad.
I think I wanted to touch on something that we talked about leaving the stadium. Is that on Friday nights, you score 5 runs, you expect to be in the game. You it just
Yeah,
you expect to be in the game on Friday scoring five, and that just wasn't the case today. And like we see in chat here is like everything that could go wrong went wrong today, and it's baseball. Things happen. It was just one of those days.
Yeah, but you also have to credit Auburn's hitting because we allowed nine. They had 19 hits, which the most our pitching has allowed all year. We allowed in game one of Vandy, we did allow 18 hits, but that was the second most. So the Vandy and Auburn game ones were the most hits we've allowed this season. And then I think in game one, Auburn was hitting 1,000 with like runners in on third, over 600 with runners in scoring position, and like over 600 with like two outs or like some insane stat lines on those.
Yeah, I actually have this here. I was telling Dalen this earlier. Let me try to find it. I think Auburn batted in the first game. They batted 500 as a team. They were 19 of 38. That's not
You,
gonna. You're never going to win any game like that at all. Another important thing is we talked about, and something that's been a problem all year is two strike and two out pitching. Like we've seen so often this year, you get to two strikes, nobody on base, and you give up back to back hits, a walk, home run, something like that happens. And Auburn hit 625 in the first game with two outs. So they were 10 for 16 with two outs.
you're lucky. Like you'd be ever lucky to be in a game that they hit like that. Like it just
Yeah.
that you rarely ever see that in this conference. I'm gonna keep saying that, but
Auburn's lineup, we kind of highlighted a couple guys in our preview. McCrane, who we talked about. Wait, hold on. Let's see. Who hit the home runs? It was Fralick. In the first game, Fralick hit a home run. He was 2 for 5, 3 RBIs. Bingaman was 3 for 4, scored 3 runs, gave up a homer, 3 RBIs. McCrane, 3 for 5, scored 3 runs, hit a homer. Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about Auburn's lineup. Like, they're a really good lineup, but they're not, the Georgia or the Vanderbilt that you've already seen, and they're not going to score 18 runs in SE. I mean, they're not going to come close to that the rest of the year. So I think that they did a really really good job of hitting strikes when we threw them, but at the end of the day, like, they scored 18 runs because pitching was not good today in that first game especially. But you do have to give the pitching a little bit of credit in the second game for coming back, and you give up 5 runs. Sims, getting into the second game, like Sims wasn't great, like we talked about. He was still good enough, but you also shut Auburn out after the third inning. They scored 0 runs after the third inning.
I want to get into something Aaron said here in the chat. He said Auburn did a great job working counts and battling until they got barrel and ball. It felt very Oklahoma, however you want to word that, but like
Yeah,
their lineup felt like Oklahoma, but with a little more juice in the bat. Um, I think this is the most complete team we've seen all year, and they really showed it today.
they're they look like the most complete team in the conference. I mean, they look really good.
Them and the team that we're about to see in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's a good point. Um, do you guys have anything that we haven't hit on in game one, or do you kind of want to move into game two?
I think that's
Well,
it for game one.
this is kind of going to game two, but Frelick, you mentioned he had that one home run in game one, but in game two he also had two home runs and hit back-to-back home runs. So he was like had a great series and was on fire against us.
Um, okay, getting into game two, there's going to be I guess we could talk about it. The ninth inning, strike three call on Gavin Grahovac. He was 0 for 5 in game two, by the way, which is a really big problem. You're like in big games, your best players have to play really well, and he was 0 for 5 in game two. Caden Sorrell woke up a little bit, went 2 for 5, hit a home run. And then kept the game going in the ninth with 2 outs. He had like a little blooper that got who was it? Who was it third?
Sawyer Farr was
Sawyer
running.
Farr was it third? Yeah. So I think that there's a lot of overreaction. Just before we get into like the specifics of game two, there's a lot of overreaction. We are quite literally 4 inches away from playing for a rubber match tomorrow. Even before, even after the Gavin stuff, like Chris Akopian hits a ball really hard over third base that's just barely foul by like 4 inches. It would have won you. You would have walked it off, most likely.
Yeah, it's a completely different outlook of what we're doing here tonight. If that ball's fair, I think you feel very good. I mean, not very good, but you feel good going into tomorrow the way Moss has been throwing. However, if that ball was foul, so none of that matters.
So I guess we could talk about Aiden Sims again. He was not at his best, but he was still. I mean, he did a decent job. He did good enough. He went 5 innings, gave up 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, and he struck out four. Did a pretty good job of throwing strikes. I mean, he did a decent job. But I think the story was Gavin Lyons, who came in and he pitched four scoreless, only gave up 2 hits and struck out two.
He's been the constant. I feel like ever since, what was it, Vandy game one, he had a rough outing, but after
Yes.
that, it's been spotless out of Lions, and you needed it. You needed it big time. But back to Aiden, after the Bub Terrell home run, he looked back to himself. He looked
Yeah.
really good. Was attacking, landing everything, but the damage was done, and it was 5-0 before after 3 innings.
Hey,
Yeah.
Dan, did you want to? Oh, you want to go? Sorry. Go.
And the air, like the defense also didn't help Sims because like we made an error, which then the next that we should have got out of the inning. Then the next at bat they hit a single which scored a run. So like he didn't have the best game, but he didn't get help.
We officially had 3 errors in the 2 games combined. It felt like a lot more than that just because there were so many plays that weren't recorded as errors that were tough plays, but you would like to see, your Texas, like you're an SEC baseball team with a lot of talent. Like you would like to see some of those, you make some of those plays sometimes. And we just like didn't make the tough plays today, which doesn't help. Aaron, what is Sims and Lions did well to keep us in the game. We left 8 guys on base in game two. Yeah, we did not. This is another stat about game two. We did not get the leadoff runner on in game two until the 7th inning. So we were, when you're not able to do that, and you're always like, okay, here we go. We get somebody on base, but you already have 2 outs. Like against Auburn's pitching staff, like that's tough. That's a tough ask, to try to manufacture runs that way.
When that happens, I mean, it's inevitable to like try to do too much. Like you're trying to cut the lead in with one swing when there's 2 outs already. But you saw the quality of at bats once the fourth inning. I would say every at bat looked back like the normal groove that this offense has been in, and it's just a shame that ball's foul. That's all I'm
I
saying.
know. I told Dalen this, like, it was a parallel to the second Penn game where Sawyer Farr hit a ball over first base that was barely fair. Like, they went to review it, it was barely fair, and that tied the game. In this game, like, you hit it down the third base line, and it's barely foul. So that immediately reminded me of that. I also just wanted to bring up like kind of the nature of double headers. Like early, this team the past 2 years has been really really good in double headers. You look at when we went into Knoxville last year and clobbered number one Tennessee. Like when you play the way Auburn did in the first game, like as the team that lost, as the team that got run ruled at home, you don't get to like go home and eat and then take a shower and go to sleep and reset. You have to get ready, and then an hour later you have to go play the exact same team that just did that to you. And I think you saw that a little bit. Like Auburn came out and took a 5-0 lead early.
Yeah, and like we did earlier this year, we got run rolled against UCLA, but like as you mentioned, we had time like to regroup and reset and everything. And the next day, we looked really good against Arizona State, who's turning out to be a quality team, but we didn't get that for this today.
Momentum's a real thing. College baseball, pro baseball, momentum is a real thing. And when you put up 18 in game one, you feel great about going into game two. You're seeing the ball like it's a beach ball, and it really the mental side of it does matter.
Yeah. Do you guys? I guess like, I mean, there's not much else to say. I mean, it was just kind of a rough day. Do you guys have anything else about game two specifically? Oh, I guess we could talk about Partita a little bit. I brought it up. So I don't remember who it was. It was a really, really hard hit ball, like really hard, right at him. That's a tough play for anybody. And I don't know exactly. I don't know if he slipped or he had to do the splits to make. But that doesn't make sense. I mean, he did the splits, is what it looked like. I don't exactly. I guess
It
I could
looked like
watch
he
it back.
slipped. It just looked like he slipped, and it's just unfortunate. And that's all I really can add to it until we know exactly what it is, because you really don't know what it is. It could be oblique, it could be groin, it could be anything, and we just don't know. We don't have the information. We won't know. I guarantee you, early won't give us a defined answer till Thursday next week, probably, if I had to guess. Um, just so the unknown of if he will play, if he won't, you just for Ole Miss on next weekend.
I would probably expect that he's. I mean, would we all expect that he's probably not going to play tomorrow?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, you would be surprised if he played tomorrow.
yeah. I don't. I'm just
Yeah,
being a realist
yeah.
here. Don't see a world where he plays tomorrow.
Yeah, and just say like he's out for a little bit. So are you guys fine like with the lineup with Chestnut second, Grahovec at third, or will you do something different?
I
I feel
wanted
like
to. Or sorry, there's like a quick little chat about Dewar, and then we can talk about the lineup. So Dewar, we said it in game one. He was he went 0 for 3, and then in game two he was 0 for 4. So he was 0 for 7 today.
game two is a rough matchup, left on left, but I mean, he's one of your best bat the ball guys. I don't know, like you said, I don't know if four is the right spot for him. But with the lineup that's now you're losing Partita, Chris is the DH. Like you're gonna like you need his bat up in the lineup just so that this lineup keeps rolling like it has been.
Yeah. We have another chat asking how many games we need to win to host a super regional. The only
18 to
thing,
be safe.
yeah, the only thing I'll say is we talked about going into this weekend, and we saw the game tomorrow. Auburn has moved up to number 3 in the RPI, and we dropped to number 10. So we're still playing the same team we played today, but you can look at tomorrow as an opportunity to play the number 3 RPI team. And if you win, that's good. And so that'll help. We're at 14 conference wins. 18, you feel pretty good. And we talked about it before this series. Like, if you were to take 2 out of 3 against Auburn, you could probably lose your next 2 series as long as you didn't get swept, and you would host. And so now, you've got to take one of the next 2. And one, start with not getting swept tomorrow, and then you have to take one of the next 2 against Ole Miss or Mississippi State.
I think you feel very well if you get swept tomorrow. Winning the next two series is a must. You got to get to 18. I feel to have a realistic shot at being a top 8 national seed. But if you win tomorrow, you've got some wiggle room. I believe you get a Mississippi State team who's just like Auburn, in my opinion, maybe with a little more pop. But you get them at Bluebell, at Olson, and I feel like there's no banana ball. The crowd's gonna be like the crowd. Just saying what it is. The crowd was empty by the fifth inning. There was a lot of empty seats by the fifth inning.
It was not great overall in both games. And it was a good crowd numerically in the first game, but when you get beat like that and you're out of the game that quickly, I mean, that's what's going to happen. But yeah, I agree. It's pretty annoying that Banana Ball was this weekend. Okay, I guess we could talk. What we were talking about before was the lineup a little bit with Partita out. Gavin moved back to third base. He was really good at third,
Mhm.
which is he's so. I mean, he is very clearly like your best player. He made a really great play at third. I don't remember exactly what happened, but he made a really really great play at third. That was important. And then Bender up at first, and Chestnut playing second. and then
I
Sawyer
think
Farr's in the lineup too.
I think if there's a way Chris can play second, he will play second. He's the
Yeah,
most competitive guy on this team. Takes a ball to the face, is playing the next day. Like if he can play second base, he'll play second base, and then
agreed.
you figure everything, you figure out what goes in after that. But I feel like what you saw in once Partita went down will be what is likely rolled out tomorrow, because the quality of at bats, you keep saying, they were just much better. Not saying Partita doesn't have quality at bats, just at that part of the game after you saw him twice, second time around, they all felt more comfortable.
I
I
also, oh, go ahead, Dave.
I have a question for you two. Would you like Wesley Jordan? He played first at Baylor, so will you ever consider if like Partito's out, putting Wesley at first,
Definitely.
or will you want to keep Bender up?
Benderup's
Um,
not seeing the ball well at all right now.
so tomorrow you're getting a righty on the mound in Prečević. Um, don't know if will affect it that much, but if Chris can play second base, you could see both of them in the lineup tomorrow. Both of them, whether Jordan's the DH and Bindy's at first, or vice versa. Um, but I would honestly stick with what it is right now. And after a full week of practice, or however long they get to practice next week, then you can experiment there. But right now, I just feel like it's a must. I feel like it's a must win to not get swept at home tomorrow, and I think you just stick with your guns, what you got.
I agree with that, like everything he said. I also wanted to just a quick shout out to uh, Travis Chestnut because he obviously hasn't had great at bats throughout the year, but there's been a lot of this theme of guys stepping in and like making plays when they need to, and he had a huge triple that drove in two. So shout out to Travis Chestnut for coming in and being like he had one of the only guys that got it done today. Um,
He was a bright spot today. It
yeah,
just is what it is. I think we should hit on what Aaron said in the chat with possible lineup with Gavin, Caden, Chris, Jorian, TK,
mm,
Harrison, Chestnut, Farr, Kellner. I don't know how many infielders you get out of that.
yeah,
Um, but that is something that I guarantee you they're talking about. Like this coaching staff's way smarter than us. Just no matter how much we think we know about baseball, they obviously know more. So they're having these discussions probably right now in the building about what tomorrow's going to look like. But I could see something different. I could see something different. However, I do feel like Dewar will play tomorrow. Just
yeah. I agree. I mean, quitting on like, not you're not quitting on him by taking him out of the lineup, but he's been one of your guys that's had really great at bats all year long. So you have to keep giving him an opportunity. I completely agree with that.
completely agree.
He also has the best two-strike approach by
Yeah.
far on
Oh
this
yeah.
team.
Jorian's looked better though. Like he's going with the no stride with two strikes, trying to try something similar to Dewar. I really like it a lot. Cutting off on the, you've seen obviously there's been a lot of strikeouts, but a lot of fouling off of pitches with two strikes, which is just improved over the entire season.
I guess we could move into tomorrow quickly before we get out of here. Um, you used Lions today. You haven't used fresh corn yet. So I think the reality is like Weston Moss is going to have a good start tomorrow. He's going to have to kind of continue to do what he's done over the past 2 weeks and just manufacture outs. Like it's not going to be a lot of strikeouts. Um, and the defense is going to have to play better too, which is a tougher ask because things are going to be shaken up. But that's what happens. I mean, that's sports. Like stuff's going to happen to you that's not fair and that you didn't expect. And you kind of the great teams, the teams that win championships, find a way to win. When those circumstances happen. So yeah, I mean, what do you guys need to see out of Weston Moss tomorrow to give this team a chance to win against another really really good Auburn starting pitching pitcher?
I'm gonna throw this out. Y'all two could interject at any point if you disagree with this. I think Darden hasn't thrown yet. So I think very plausibly you could see 4 from Weston. That's if everything goes well. Everything goes well. Maybe you roll him out there for the fifth. Maybe he's allowed 1. Maybe he's allowed 0. You roll him back out there. But you go Darden for 2 if he goes 4, and then you got Fresh Corn for 3 because he hasn't been used since Tuesday. I think that is very possible what you see tomorrow, regardless of if he's going well. Now, if he's not able to go 4, you go Vargas till you get that buffer because he hasn't thrown either. So,
Hmm.
um, you've got arms that are fresh that haven't thrown. I doubt you see Lions tomorrow. Just he threw 4. He was
Yeah.
really
Oh
good.
no. Yeah. You're not gonna. I don't think you're gonna see Lions tomorrow either. But to feel good about giving your team, your offense, a chance to get something done against like a really good pitching staff, and like you said earlier, Auburn has brought one arm out of the pen through 2 games. Like they are fresh. They are not going to run out of arms tomorrow. You're not going to get deep and get all the way through their bullpen tomorrow. Like it's going to be probably another, if Weston does well, like it's going to be another game kind of like today. So yeah, I mean I agree with you. I think 4, and then you can
I'll
go.
re-answer the question after I just went up rambled. 4 innings, 2 or less runs, you feel great.
Yeah. Okay. Also, like, I just had a general question about Fresh Corn too. You know, because you've seen him, I think, kind of get hit around a little bit at times, but he's done a nice job of not giving up the big hit to score runs. How many innings is Fresh Corn as a closer? Like, do you feel comfortable putting him in the eighth, like to get 6, or do you think he's more of like a put him in the ninth to get 3? Because I think you've seen this year, at Florida, like when the opposing lineup gets when he goes through the opposing lineup more than once, they kind of start to figure him out a little bit. So, what are your thoughts on Fresh Corn and kind of his role as a closer?
I think you said it perfectly. Like once you see an arm the second time around, you're more comfortable. Um, However, the last like going back to I don't remember the LSU series, just gonna be no, blatant. But the Texas series, he went got 9 outs, and you were up 3, and he gave up the 2 home runs, but they never had the tying run on base. At least they had the tying run up, they didn't have them on base. And then in the Florida series, they had the tying run on, and you got out of it. You got out of
Hmm.
it. You really wasn't. You got a ground ball. You weren't stressing at all. Nothing really hit hard in that scenario. And then I feel like it was something similar at LSU too. I'm completely blanking on it, but I think as long as he doesn't see the middle part of the lineup twice, you're feeling great.
I agree with that. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, I think like 6 or less outs is pretty understandable for him. And like that you can feel confident that he can get out without giving up a ton of damage.
Okay. Do you guys kind of feel good about everything? Not good about the result, but like, you know, it
When
was one of
tomorrow
those
everything feels
days.
fine. Feel like you're back on
Yeah, I
track.
mean, it can feel a lot. It can feel very similar to the Georgia series. Now, I don't think we're going to win 15-6 tomorrow because you had Aiden Sims on that Sunday. Um, but it could be one of those days where the team, early gets tossed at the end of this game and they come out tomorrow and refuse to get bullied at their own ballpark. Um, and so I hope we see that. This team's been pretty good most of the time at responding after a loss when they have the day to reset and come back to the ballpark the next day.
They got punched in the face. It's simple as that. We'll see. You see how they respond tomorrow. If they respond like they have against Georgia, against Vandy on day one, but you would feel very confident with 15 wins with 2 series remaining.
Well, do you guys see Aaron's last chat? I was
Yes, he
looking at
said
RPI. What do
my
you guys think
question
about
would
that?
be um, if not the eighth Moss for 4, Darden for 3, Fresh Corn for 2. But if Darden doesn't have it, then what? I think we comboed it a little bit. With Vargas would get in. Um, I no clue if Grant's available, but you could very well see him if he's available. I'm just speculating here. Um, but yeah, I mean, you just got to piece it. You got to find the way to get outs. That's as simple as that. And I feel like you'll just play it by matchups at that part. Like you could, I don't know the last time you saw Hunter Vincent, but he might be
Yeah.
in play tomorrow. Like they had a lot of left-handed hitters like Bub Terrell, like Fralick have that have gone backside home
Yeah.
runs. But I feel like you could finagle matchups where it could be in your benefit. Um, but you just gotta get outs tomorrow. It's you got to get use everything tomorrow.
I would say two things. One is like you are going to need a guy, whether it's a freshman or Grant Cunningham or somebody like that. You're going to need somebody else to step up and like really step into that role of having another reliever. And it could be Cooper Powell again. He did in that first game. The game was over, but he did a nice job. Like he came in and did a nice job. So um, Cooper Powell, like or somebody like that, or a Luke Billings or whatever, like you're gonna have to have another arm come up and step up and kind of fill that role, fill that hole. And if you can't, and you're not going to get good starts out of Shane Sadeo, like that's the ceiling of the team, unfortunately, which can be hard to hear. Like you don't want to talk about, oh, the team can't do this, and I'm not saying the team can't do, and I think the ceiling of the team is all like it could be all the way if they get hot. But if
Hmm.
you're not going to have a good start out of Shane Sadeo, if you're going to have a day like today and Grant Cunningham, and you can't have somebody step up out of the bullpen besides Gavin Lyons, like you're just not going to win big. You're just not. Like that's just the ceiling of the team. It goes with the pitching.
I'll start with this before we get on Badgers' last chat before we get out of here. You're really struggling from the injuries you've suffered on the mound. McCoy preseason, Tommy John, and Stewart getting hurt the first SEC series. You're really seeing it ream like into fruition right now with not being able to get outs or needing another high leverage situation arm. You're really seeing it turn into fruition right now. And you just got to have someone step up, like you said, like whether it's a freshman, whether it's Grant, whether it's Wand, whether it's whoever, it's got to happen if this team's got to get where they want to go.
Totally agree with that.
And then
Dalen,
Badger said apparently it was the Gavin strikeout
I
pitch
saw
off the
that.
strike on track man. I could very well
Look,
believe it.
I like what you said, Tag, when we were talking about this before we came on. Like that sucked because of the magnitude of the moment. Like who knows what would have happened if Gavin is able to get on base, and then of course Early gets tossed. Like, which whatever. I mean, if like something, and I told Tag this, like umpires, like if you make a call and you're wrong, and maybe because when that strike call happened, you could he froze for a second before he made the call. Like he took a lot longer to make that call than he did a lot of other strike calls. But that's not why you lost the game. Like you didn't lose the game because of that strike call. I mean, Tag, you can kind of talk about that. I don't know, I remember what you were telling me before, but I like what you had to say about it.
Yeah, I basically said one pitch is not going to determine the game, like you said, and the game was, in my opinion, lost when you couldn't respond to their runs immediately. Like and you never got a shut down after they'd scored. It was 1-1-2, right? Or three, whatever it was. 1-1-3.
Let me look.
And you're already at a 5-0 hole and you're chasing upward after you chased upward all game one or trying to.
Yeah.
Like it's just a lot mentally. And like I said, umpires are human. Like they're gonna make mistakes. The zone was, from my perspective, it was very fair all game. Like I'm not gonna be out here blaming umpires for one call. Although the magnitude of the pitch, like yes, it matters, but it's baseball. It's
The one
baseball.
thing that makes me angry, and it's not the strike call. It's if it was wrong, and by the way, even if that was a strike, he was objectively pretty bad the whole game. Like the umpire was, I think, pretty bad the whole game. Don't toss the coach when you get called out for. I don't know what Early said. Early could have said something, but when you're that quick of a trigger, like it shows like your ego a little bit. Like you made a mistake. When that coach comes out to confront you about it, just fess up. Be like, dude, yeah, I screwed up. Don't toss the coach like this because you feel like your ego's under fire. But anyways, what you're saying before, Auburn scored one in the first. It was two solo shots. It was one in the first, two another solo shot in the second. A&M was unable to respond after both of those solo shots. And then they was it a 3-run homer in the
No, the
third?
Freilich hit
It
a
was a
Freilich
2-run
hit
homer.
a Freilich hit the solo in the third, and then Bub Terrell hit a 2-run home run off the
Yeah, yeah,
scoreboard.
yeah, yeah. And so A&M was able. That was Caden Sorrell
Terrell's
broke.
home run.
Yeah, Sorrell, and then A&M put up two in the fourth. And so at that point, it was the 5-3 game. That was T Nut's triple. And
Mhm.
then the fifth, sixth, and seventh were scoreless. Again, Auburn did not score in the second game after the third inning, so credit to the pitching staff. And then you put up one in the eighth, and then you're just not able to get it done at the end. I think that's it. That's kind of our
Mhm.
general thoughts about today. Sucked, but that happens in this conference. You played a team that just beat you today and was better than you in both games. But we will come out tomorrow, and we'll be on again after that game to talk about what happened. Do you guys have anything else before we get out of here?
No, other than thank y'all for all those that did tune into this. Thank you. And we'll see all of you that will be at Olson tomorrow. Be loud. This game matters. Like, yes, we lost the series. This game matters tomorrow, and we'll talk to you after.